man, I gotta give a lot of credit to the Duffer brothers. I wasn't a big fan of season 2. I love season 1 like everybody did, but season 2 was very plotting. It was very meaningless. Had some cool moments, but it was like I was bored. It took me forever to watch it. But man, season 3, I mean, it's an insanely incredible season and the best of the series and one of the best seasons of television I've seen in a long time because it's tense, it's insane, it's beautiful to watch, and the characters have more depth and more motivation, and they've increased their ability to do things that we haven't seen. They've taken the characters and really moved forward with it, and I haven't even begun the opening of this episode. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Movie Emporium Season 3 review of Stranger Things. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button at the top, and comment below on any of these videos. I'm stuttering because I just watched this Season 3. I just finished it, and it's incredible. There are some problems with it, I admit, but this is storytelling at its finest. You can really tell the Duffer brothers have hit their stride. And I'm interested to see, I'm hoping season 4 really continues that stride, but as of right now, season 3 is insanely good, and it's brought on by the actors, the young kids, David Harbour, Winona Ryder, Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard. It's just people in this. I can't believe this season was so good after what happened with season 2. I think that's the problem with shows. When you get a show like this, it's gonna struggle. I mean, Dexter was the same way. I thought season 2 had some issues as well, but it's just like they took this show to a new level. I mean, we're dealing with romance, we're dealing with invasion of the body snatchers, we're dealing with all kinds of crazy, crazy things. We're seeing new enemies, new enemy types, like a Resident Evil movie, and I just like I can't believe what I watched. It was so amazing. So I'm going to do a little bit of spoilerish here, but this story is basically, we've gone a year and a half later. The Russians have done this is a Cold War story a little bit, because the Russians are trying to open up the gate for whatever reason. It's not entirely explained, which is fine, because the Russians were the bad people in the 80s anyway, so it kind of makes perfect sense. And they can't do it, but somehow they've ended up in Hawkins, Indiana. They take over the Starcourt Mall, and they found a way to open up the gate to release the demagogue again and to release the mind flayer. And this is how you kind of expand and go past what you originally created. Like, when you're creating these new enemy types, you want to create them in a way where they're familiar, but they're able to do something different. And that's what it does here, because the character played by, I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name, Dacre Montgomery, who plays Billy, he was kind of like a one-note character in season 2. I thought he was just kind of a bully, but you can kind of see his underlying problems, because bullies always have that bad back history. But in this one, he's given a lot more to do, because once he's taken over by the Mind Flayer, he goes on a invasion of the body snatchers quest where he's being controlled. He takes down, a pool attendant, and then she goes and takes down her family, and it affects the whole town. And that stuff that's going on in this episode is intense, it's insane, and it's kind of darkly interesting to watch, because if you remember the 70s invasion of the body snatchers, it was a very creepy movie, and that's what you're getting here. The fact that they're using Billy in a different light and giving him more to do until his eventual sacrifice at the end of the season, is just fascinating. It's fascinating to watch these characters that are being controlled by the Mind Flayer end up at some point being basically dissolved to make more pieces of the Mind Flayer's demon hound, or whatever you want to call it. And that is disturbing and dark. And when you see Jake Busey in this as a news reporter, and when you see him kind of explode and die, just the pieces of the Mind Flayer's demon dog, whatever you want to call it, demon creature, it starts to form things. And that is just really, really fascinating stuff and really horrifying. And that's what I want out of Stranger Things. That's what I want to see, is a more expansive look at what this Mind Flayer is, because you hear about it in the second season, but it's not really given much property, and it really bothered me. So when you see kind of what the creature is doing, it's just really, really cool. And Dacre Montgomery is fantastic here. He is giving so much more material, and you really feel for his character. He's a guy that is very conflicted with what has happened to him, and that's what makes it so much fun to watch. And that's not even the best part of the series, which I'll get into in just a second. But then you have Millie Bobby Brown and Finn Wolfhard, who they were kind of a couple at the end of the second season, but it really blossoms here. And then you have David Harbour's Hopper, who can't handle it. You know, he's trying to raise Elle to be a young woman, a young person, but he can't handle the fact that she's in a relationship with Mike, and that it's all this stuff is just, you know, out of his control because his past has never been able to let him deal with these types of things. And he tries to cope with the Winona Ryder's character to find out what he can do. And, you know, she tells him, you know, you have to talk to him. You can't yell at her. You can't yell at them because they're not going to listen. They're teenagers. They're growing up. They're going to get in romantic relationships. And it's just a beautiful thing to see, and to see Elle just kind of become her own, and to finally kind of like learn life and learn romance and learn just things about things that she's never been able to deal with. You know, when the relationship starts to kind of crumble a little bit because Finn Wolfhard's Mike can't just like deal with the fact that she is kind of an independent person. Sadie Sink's character Max, who really came into her own in the second season and really comes into her own in this season, takes Elle along and shows her the ropes of how to be more independent, more of a person, a woman, you know, something that is just not being held back by Mike's character. And like the stuff that the drive and the emotional connection that she's having with Max, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's crazy to see how much more material Elle and Millie Bobby Brown is given here, because it's a more complex character now. And yes, she still has her powers, and they're used in interesting ways. And the Mind Flayer is going to use those powers to try to corrupt the whole world to take it down, and it's good stuff, you know. And then of course you have McLaughlin, who's playing Lucas, who's in a relationship with Max, and their relationship, of course, is the most like easygoing relationship. They don't really have a lot of progress that goes on, but just to see, you know, Caleb and Finn Wolfhard, and then you have, you know, Sadie and Millie Bobby Brown on one side, on both sides, kind of like not understanding how a relationship works. Is really funny. You know, that's what this is great about this season, is the relationships are built on teenagers, so their thinking is, the boys thinking is a lot different than the girls thinking. It's beautiful. But you also have Nancy and Jonathan, who are the more adultish people. You know, they're the older, you know, teenagers or whatever, and they're working for a newspaper and so on and so forth with sexist guys, which is really funny because I'm sure that's how the 80s was with the newspaper industry. And they're like trying to find out what's going on with these rats, and they're trying to find out what's going on with this old woman who has discovered the rats, and apparently she's part of the Mind Flayers, you know, disease body snatcher mode or whatever. And I think their characters are fine. They're not perfect. They're, you know, they're always like fighting back and forth, so they're like on a relationship that's gonna like is falling apart. But it's fun to watch them. It's fun to watch them go on the case. It's fun to watch them eventually take down Jake Busey's character, who's like the most sexist character on the show. And, you know, I like Jake Busey, but sometimes I think he plays the same character over and over. But I still think they're fine. I think they're given less to do than they did in season 2. But they have their moments. So, but I think the best part about this season is the Scoops group, which is comprised of Steve, Dustin, and Erica. Then they bring in a new character who's played by Maya Hawke, which is Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter. And she plays Robin, and she's flat out like the standout character in this season because she's funny, she's witty, she takes down Steve at any chance she gets. And you think there's kind of like a relationship there that kind of plays out really cool. You find out she's, you know, what she is. And yeah, they're dynamic, the four of them. Erica, who you remember from the second season, who is Lucas's sister, she is like balls to the wall, just like says whatever she wants. She just wants free ice cream. She goes on a just quest to take down the whole group, and she is funny. She is like sarcastic, and it's just a beautiful character, and she's one of the standouts in this season. And there's this whole group, the Steve, the Robin, the Dustin, the Erica characters. They're having so much fun with these roles that it just feels like they're outrunning everybody else. Like when they go down to the Russian underground where it's taking place in the Starcourt Mall, and they find, the machine that's opening up the gate. It's just their dynamic is just perfect. And then when, Steve and Robin, they get injected with True Serum, and that whole segment, because it plays out for a couple episodes, is just fantastic. It's funny, and it's just beautiful, and I like it. And just this whole cast, this whole season is just beautiful and just amazing to watch. And the story is it's fun to watch, Then the eventual kind of culmination at the end, when you have the three separate groups, you have the Dustin's Scoops group, and you have the Finn Wolfhar's group here, because Elle gets hurt, so she kind of loses her powers, and then you have the David Harbour and Winona Ryder characters, Hopper or Hooper, whatever you want to call him. And then Hopper dies because or at least we think he dies. We're not really sure, because he kind of sacrifices himself to kind of make sure that they can destroy the machine. And then you have just everything that's going on, and just how smoothly the season just kind of plays along and moves forward, tense nature by tense nature. Like I said, if you haven't watched Stranger Things, season 1's a really good season, but season 3 is really where you want to be at, because just the tense nature. This is a more mature season. There's a lot more violence, there's a lot more language, and the kids are more adult in this, and they are given more complexities to their characters. And I think the character that kind of disappointed me, I think is the only reason that he's in it, is because the Duffer brothers really like him, is Cary Elwes. And Cary Elwes is just like a goof. He's just like he's a politician who's kind of corrupted, and it's just kind of a cliche, I guess. And he's not really in the series that much. He's only in like for 10 minutes at the most. And it's kind of a shame, because I love Cary Elwes. I think, Sean Astin was pretty great in season 2, but Cary Elwes it just feels like the Duffer brothers really wanted to work with Cary Elwes after, like Saul and Princess Bride. But, I think it's funny that, it takes a couple seasons for creators to kind of really get their groove on, their stride. And I have to give a lot of credit to the Netflix and Sean Levy and the Duffer brothers or at least Netflix, and for giving them the opportunity to expand upon what they've already created. Because Netflix could have been like, we're giving you this money, you're going to do it this way, and you're not going to like it. And you're going to you're going to like it, I should say. And they're like, no, we're going to let you do whatever you want, because this series is really popular, and we want you to do it and make it good. We want to get you to get more Netflix subscriptions. And instead, they created a wonderful season. They created a wonderful thing, and that's just beautiful. And, when Billy dies, and when Hopper supposedly dies, and just the ending is just so emotionally draining. And that's what you want out of the season. That's why, certain seasons of Dexter and Lost and all these shows really get to you, because they are allowed to given the freedom to create something beautiful. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too much more detail, because I know I want people to watch it. But guys, season 3 is almost perfect. Outside of a few nitpicks, it's as perfect as you can get for a horror / 80s style show. And the 80s stuff in this is perfect. There's a lot of great songs. There's a Weird Al song, which is amazing. And there's, signage everywhere. The new Coke. That's another thing before I finish. The arguments the kids have, and the fact that the Duffer brothers let them go on as long as they did with these arguments that the kids were having, is nothing short of brilliance, because that's what kids are. They argue about the most inane things. They're arguing about new Coke in this, and they're arguing about these stupid things. And that's what's brilliant about this season. And then Dustin, who everybody thinks he doesn't have a girlfriend, even though he claims he does, when the reveal happens that he does have a girlfriend, and you find out that like she won't help them until they sing the Never Ending Story song. It's just beautiful. But yeah, then it ends with Winona Ryder's character and her sons, and of course Elle, because Hopper has died. They move off out of Hawkins, Indiana, which is going to make a really interesting dynamic to what could happen in this series. And I'm intrigued by what season 4 is going to bring. So, but anyways, that's going to do it for my long-winded take of season 3. I hope it was at least somewhat coherent. But the season 3 is amazing. Check it out if you haven't. I'm sure a lot of people have already. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button at the top, and comment below and tell me what you think of season 3 of Stranger Things. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these 2 videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.